A Democratic Senate candidate from Louisiana has launched his campaign with a rather, blunt ad. Let it speak for itself here.
Every 37 seconds, someone is arrested for possession of marijuana. Since 2010, state and local police have arrested an estimated 7.3 million Americans for violating marijuana laws, over half of all drug arrests. Black people are 4 times more likely to be arrested for marijuana laws than white people. States waste $3.7 billion enforcing marijuana laws every year. Most of the people police are arresting aren't dealers, but rather people with small amounts of pot, just like me. I'm Gary Chambers, and I'm running for the U.S. Senate, and I approve this message.
Gary Chambers is a leading social justice advocate from Baton Rouge, running on a progressive platform under the motto, "Do good, seek justice," an excerpt from the Gospel of Isaiah, chapter 1, verse 17, which requires those in position to effect change to work diligently on behalf of the most vulnerable. Gary joins us now to share the inspiration behind his new ad and let us know how his campaign's doing. Welcome, Gary.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
Yes, we're happy to have you here. I'm a big personal fan of your ad. You have some fans here on Rising and at Reason, where I write for. How did this idea pop into your head?
Well, it wasn't all my idea. My comms team and my media director, Erwin Marino, came up with a great strategy that we really thought this is policy we stand for. A conversation that we want to have, and that, let's go be bold. You get one shot at this to do it, and we're after it to win. And so we wanted to make sure that the country could kind of pay attention to what's happening in the 50th ranked state in the country, and we had to cut through the noise, and I think we've done a good job of doing that.
And what's been the response so far? Have you seen like a significant inflow in small dollar contributions?
We certainly have had an uptick in donations. We wanted to keep going up as much as possible. We're running against a U.S. Senator with $10 million in the bank, and so we're a long way from there, but we believe that this opportunity gives us the ability to get our message out there in a way that can get people who care about these policies, who care about making change in this country, aware that we're here and that this is a winnable race. The demographics in Louisiana are very similar to the demographics of Georgia, and we believe that we can do what Georgia did last year here in Louisiana in 2022.
Gary, what I really love about your ad is that you didn't just say, let's legalize weed because I like smoking pot, but you actually tied it to the prison rates and the arrest rates, the crime, people who are affected by this. And I think that was a really, really smart move, because that is really the crux of the issue, I think. But one thing also, have you gotten a lot of pushback on it? Have people been like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe you're smoking during your entire ad? Have you gotten any sort of moral posturing against it?
No, and I think that we haven't gotten that because the country is just further along on what they view as it relates to cannabis, right? A few years ago, this would have been completely unheard of. But when there are 19 states that have legalized recreational cannabis for use, I think that there are a lot of people in the country who have accepted this and believe that this is not something that people should be criminalized for. And listen, I live in a state that's ranked 50th in the nation in crime, 49 in opportunity. John Kennedy is going to be saying things like we should bring back stop frisk. But the reality is, police officers harassing people for cannabis is not reducing crime, because we've had record-breaking homicides in our state this year.
Yeah, and it's something, this is a cause, obviously, that's important to progressives, and I'm a libertarian. It's important to libertarians. But I know Republicans, I know conservatives who think this is a waste of law enforcement's time. This is a misuse of prison resources. It's wrong to not devolve this choice to a state and local level in the first place. There are all sorts of arguments, I think, with this issue that are appealing to people all across the political spectrum.
Absolutely. I think that, right here in Louisiana, we've had Republicans that are now bringing the recreational cannabis legislation before the legislature. It passed out of committee last year, which was surprising to many people, got to a debate on the House floor. I think we have an opportunity in Louisiana in 2022 to send it to the voters. I think that if the Republican-led legislature can do that, that they'll take a step in the right direction and, get the attention of many people. This is smart policy. And at the end of the day, when you have a state that is married to one industry and struggling to grow its economy, you need to do whatever you can to diversify. And I'm not saying cannabis is an end-all be-all, but billions of dollars are being generated in tax revenue in other states. And people come to New Orleans and Louisiana to enjoy the culture and the food and the vibrancy of our state. And so there's no reason that they shouldn't be able to enjoy recreational marijuana when they're here, which also creates revenue that we can help fix roads and bridges and schools and make investment into the people of Louisiana. And I just think it's smart policy.
You recently ran in a special election to replace Cedric Richmond in the congressional district in Louisiana and came up short against two candidates from New Orleans. And the district was mostly New Orleans, but some Baton Rouge. When you think back on that race, was it just a regional obstacle that a Baton Rouge candidate is just going to struggle against New Orleans candidates in a New Orleans district? Or was there something else that you've taken from that race that you're applying to your Senate campaign?
Well, I think there are a couple of big points here. Number one, we outperformed what anybody ever expected we would do in New Orleans. We came in second place, winning 140 plus precincts out of 300 in New Orleans. Nobody expected us to be able to do that, but that's because we built a very grassroots, people-powered campaign. What we didn't have is the resources for the home stretch. We spent about $30,000 on TV. You guys understand politics, that if you're in a congressional race, be spending six figures or more on TV, and so we didn't have the budget to do that. And so we joked amongst ourselves that if we had either another week or another $100,000, we would have been in the runoff. We missed it by 1,500 votes, less than a percentage point, and we beat a sitting state senator in her Senate district in New Orleans. And so what I think that says is that there are people in this state, people around this community that recognize that the values that we're talking about, the ideas and policies that we're talking about matter. And they also want somebody who's got a track record of showing up for the people and fighting. And that has kind of been how I've grown to be who I am in the advocacy space, to even have the opportunity to, or the privilege to be able to run for these positions.
Any other interesting videos in the mix coming up?
We are certainly cooking, and hopefully you guys will stay paying attention because there are a whole lot of issues here in Louisiana. We rank 46 in healthcare, 47 in education, 47 in infrastructure, 49 in the economy and environmental quality, and 50 in crime. So there's a whole lot for us to talk about. Senator Froghorn Leghorn's been kind of going around the country on Fox News, talking his talk, and so it's our turn to come back.
I call him that too. I've called him that before in this show.
He really is.
I did a pretty good impression of him before this segment started, but I'm not going to ever pull that off again. So I'm not.
How's your John Kennedy, Gary? How's your John Kennedy impersonation?
I don't try. It's too embarrassing, bro. He does a good job of getting enough attention on his own.
He does, no doubt about it. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Well, I got to have you back on soon.
Thank y'all. I appreciate it.
All right, we will have more Rising right after this.